How's it going, guys? Jimmy here, and this is part 2 of my Mass Effect 3 discussion video, and this is the big one. Here in this video, I am going to discuss the ending theories, what I thought about the ending, and what I think is to come of Mass Effect 3. Now, again, this is the last video really didn't have too many spoilers in it. We talked about the DLC and whatnot, but this one, really, if you have not beat Mass Effect 3, please do not watch this. Do not listen to this right now. Beat the game, then come back, listen to it, and let me know what you think. If you've beaten it, awesome. Definitely let me know what you think as well in the comments below. But again, this is major spoiler. I am going to tell you what happens in the ending, or endings, I should say, of Mass Effect 3. So if you have not beat it, don't listen to this. Exit out now, or back out, or whatever. Or if you just want me to spoil it for you, whatever. But yeah, the endings of Mass Effect 3. Wow. Basically, if I were to summarize my feelings with Mass Effect 3 as a game as a whole, I think it was a absolutely brilliant game, near perfection. Definitely one of my favorite games I've ever played. The only thing is 99.9% of the game, to me, was absolutely perfect. But that 0.1% was the ending. And that kind of... A lot of people were going as far as saying it ruined the whole game for him and ruined the whole series for him. I'm not going to go as far as saying that, but it definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. There are 3 endings with different variations on each. I think it's total up to nearing like 10 or 12 endings total, but really that number skews it a bit. It's actually 3 different endings with minor, very, very minor variations on each. Control, destroy, or synthesize endings. Basically, all 3 are very bleak and really leave the galaxy in a very odd situation. The way they handled the endings, I didn't like, though. Basically, the whole, oh, you're up here on a pedestal, door 1, 2, or 3, which one do you want? I don't like that. I don't like that concept of, or, it was red, blue, or green. I don't like the concept of picking your, just pick your favorite color. It's stupid. I don't like that. When I first beat the game, I didn't have a problem with the endings, but I did have a big problem with that. I'm like, why did we have to do, I know it's supposed to be of choice, but I kind of think that, your actions going all the way through Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 should lead to the ending. You shouldn't have to choose, at the very, very end. It should literally be, okay, the game should be like, what actions did you make throughout the series? And based on those actions, then give you the ending. That was my first problem, really, with it. The second, I'm not a big fan of this whole Godchild-like thing. The catalyst or whatnot, I'm not a big fan of how they handled that. But let's back up for a second. Basically, if you've beaten the game and you're probably... the majority of people who've beaten Mass Effect 3 are pretty angry, depressed, sad, pissed off, or not happy about the ending. And if I definitely highly suggest going to the BioWare Mass Effect 3 forums. There's a lot of great stuff there, a lot of good people, a lot of great theories, a lot of good discussions. But most people aren't happy with it. And I've seen, basically, like, the forums on there are blowing up with theories on how or why it ended that way. And I'll get to some of the things here later on in the video, but people aren't happy. And people are demanding for a new ending and whatnot, and I do have theories on that as well. But it's a big thing right now, It makes the Day 1 DLC thing look like nothing. Like, people don't care about that anymore. Whatever. It's the ending. And a lot of big Mass Effect fans are really, really angry. And there's petitions going on online now, and it's actually starting to gain some traction within gaming websites. There's articles out. The one thing I hate about these gaming articles that are coming out, though, about this, is they're saying, us Mass Effect players want... this really, really happy ending, and we didn't get it, so we're all pissed off. That is not true. Now, there are some of you out there who may want that really happy, cheesy ending. And like I said, I would love something like that. At least a choice to get that ending. You and your love interest on a sandy beach somewhere, or maybe Shepard still dies and your love interest has a baby, or some kind of epilogue to tell you what happened. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I think the most gamers there's no closure to these endings. These endings, they end and you're just like, oh, what? Basically, no matter what ending you choose, whether it's control the Reapers, synthesize organics and synthetics into one, which is really weird, or destroy, which destroy is actually the good ending. Regardless what you choose, the Mass Effect relays explode. And when I first seen that, I was like, okay, well, at the end of the Arrival DLC, you destroy Mass Effect Relay. In Mass Effect 2, the Arrival DLC, you destroy Mass Effect Relay. It destroys an entire system from the explosion. Now, wouldn't that be the same here if all these Mass Effect relays are exploding? Basically, sending every species in the galaxy back thousands of years. But wouldn't it destroy every system? That was my first problem. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm missing a codex entry that talks about that or something. Maybe I'm missing something. But to me, it seems like every system should be destroyed. Completely gone. And then, the ending... Basically, let's just go through the steps of the ending. Let's just say you get the perfect good ending. Let's say you destroy the Reapers. First of all, you're walking down or running towards the beam at the end of the game, dodging Harbinger's, beam of destruction, let's call it. And then you finally get hit by it. And then you wake up, almost in this dream sequence, which there's a point to that. You go into the beam, you go up through the Citadel. I mean, Shepard's beat the hell, he's bleeding, near death. You're just stumbling. You go up in the Citadel and there's this corridor of bodies just everywhere. Looks like the Collector's base almost. The first thing you notice, if you actually go back and watch those scenes, all of the bodies, at least in my game, all of the bodies had armor, Ashley's armor, the pink and white, and all of the faces were generic faces. I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but then you go through, and Captain Anderson's automatically ahead of you, even though he said he came through the beam behind you. Now, maybe he just got warped to that spot. I don't really know, but that's really weird. And then, you go through this whole thing of the elusive man. It's basically very reminiscent to the Saren boss battle at the very, very end of... Or not boss battle, the Saren conversation at the end of Mass Effect 1. You can, convince him he's been indoctrinated. He shoots himself. You and Anderson share a moment. Anderson dies. Then you go... And then it seems like Shepard dies, pretty much. He collapses on a lift. The lift lifts him up into outer space, or into the top of the Citadel Tower that's connected to the giant mega weapon that they created. And you meet the boy who was killed. It's a ghost. It's like a permanent. It's like a. I think it's the catalyst. You meet the catalyst, but it's in the shape and the form of the the boy on Earth that got destroyed in the ship. Now, that was kind of weird. But then he basically goes over the three things you can do to stop the Reapers. One is control, which really doesn't stop them. It's just you control them. One, synthesize, which combines synthetics and organics together, and obviously to destroy. Since this is the good ending, let's say you just choose to destroy. Shepard dies with that. All the Reapers get destroyed. You see all the Mass Effect relays explode, which again should destroy every system in my opinion, but doesn't. And then you see the Normandy fly off, get damaged by the explosion, and then land on an uncharted world. And I think depending on your game, possibly, squad mates will step out of the Normandy, and thus being stranded. And then if you get the perfect ending, if your EMS is high enough, at the very end it shows Shepard in rubble, and he breathes. He takes a big inhale. Like life is being, like he's still alive. And that's supposed to be the perfect ending. Now, in a nutshell, that's it. I mean, obviously I didn't go through every painstaking detail. Basically, unless you get that perfect ending where it shows Shepard breathing at the end, it doesn't show his face, just shows his chest taking an inhale. Basically, Shepard dies at the end of them. But all these endings are very bleak and leaves more questions and answers. One, for me, was the Mass Effect relays. Shouldn't they explode every system? Two, during the final assault, during the final run down the hill to this giant beam that launches you up into the Citadel, you have two squad members with you. Like my case, it was Liara and Garrus. How did they magically get on the Normandy? Because those two stepped out when they showed the ending scene of Normandy stranded on a Earth-like planet. And how did they just magically zip up to the Normandy when there's Reapers in orbit? There's fighting going. It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know. Like the endings to me aren't very fulfilling, and I think a lot of gamers agree with that. It's not like I said, I'd be happy with one of those really, really cheesy, corny, really happy endings with the love interest. But I went into Mass Effect 3 fully expecting Shepard to die or sacrifice himself in some way. But I'm not fulfilled. None of these endings make really any sense. And that brings me to my main theory, is there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of plot holes and whatnot in the ending here. And like I said, I'm going to put a link down to the BioWare forums. There's actually a really good thread going on. Maybe we're all just grasping for straws. Maybe we're just, our Mass Effect fanboyism is just blinding our better judgment. Maybe these are the endings we're going to get. But a lot of people, and the evidence is there, that maybe BioWare is messing with us. The theory pretty much goes, it's an indoctrination ending. Basically, if you get the perfect ending where Shepard breathes at the end, a lot of us, and myself included, think that maybe that's him waking up after he's been hit with the beam. And the whole going through the Citadel and meeting the Elusive Man and Captain Anderson and the Catalyst is all a dream, an indoctrination. I mean, like I said, I'll put a link to the forum. I'll try to summarize some things, but there's a lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff people are coming up with that, maybe this doesn't happen. Maybe BioWare, these are the endings they intend, but it gives you some peace that maybe you can make some headcanon out of all this and say, okay, well, that's the ending, but this is what happens in my mind. Gives you some peace. It's really cool. There's also some other theories on there that are also really good as well. But if you watch the endings again and you are asked to do some choices, some interrupts like Paragon or Renegade, it only tells you to do those during Paragon interrupts, but it's marked as Renegade interrupts, such as, shooting the Elusive Man, which, might be Renegade to some people, or choosing to destroy the Reapers is actually, when the Catalyst describes these to you, he actually describes destroying the Reapers as the bad option, the option you should not do. When in all reality, isn't that the option that you should do? Isn't that the best option? And if you choose synthesis or control, it kind of has a smirk on his face. Again, maybe we're just overlooking everything. Maybe we're just looking too into everything. And there are some subtle things here and there, like all the bodies in the hallway wearing Ashley's armor, or the fact that, regardless of what armor you're wearing into that final assault, Shepard's beat all to hell. His armor's blown to pieces, but it's the N7 armor. It's the default N7 armor we all know and love. Even if you went into that battle with the Collector's armor on or something like that. The fact that, you magically, if your character maybe didn't have a pistol equipped, you magically have a pistol equipped with unlimited ammo that you can just keep firing forever. And like I said, everything is just a really big dream sequence. And when you're talking to the Elusive Man, your screen has like these this weird thing going on with it around the edges. Like it's like you're being indoctrinated. If you read the indoctrination codex, it describes that. And, it just really, there's a lot of evidence there to really say that maybe Shepard's indoctrinated. Maybe he's knocked out and he's dreaming all this, or something. Maybe it's all a big hallucination. I agree with it. I maybe, like I said, maybe these are endings that we just get. We're all unhappy with them. It kind of just brings me peace, though, that, okay, maybe these are the endings we get, but from now on, when I beat the game, I can just imagine this in my mind. Okay, that was all hallucination. But again, like, here's my theory. What if BioWare is just messing with us? Maybe, this was a plan all along. Make some pretty questionable endings. Make endings that leave plot holes, that leave stuff to be open for debate. And it's being debated a lot. Like, every second of the last 15 minutes of the game, every second of that 15 minutes is being dissected and torn apart by us Mass Effect fans. Maybe that's what they want. They want us to get riled up. They want us to get, very emotional about this. In my personal opinion, I think the ending definitely leaves, the possibility for some kind of expansion pack to be open, whether picked up at being hit by the beam or being picked up right before the attack on Cerberus's base, which is the point of no return in the game. I really believe that, I think it'd be awesome if BioWare came out and was like, oh, hey, that was just temporary endings. Here's an expansion pack that adds 10 to 15 hours to the gameplay, kind of like Dragon Age Awakening. And in that, you will get the true ending to the saga, or the trilogy, I should say. I think that'd be awesome. And a lot of people might be like, okay, well, they're obviously going to charge $30 for that, $20-$30 for it. They're just trying to get more money. Okay, yeah, but I mean, just think about it. How genius is BioWare getting all of us gamers riled up, getting all of us emotional, dissecting every second of the ending, creating all these wonderful theories. Like, what other game has done that? I mean, I'm sure there's core fan groups in each, from each game that maybe sit on forums and do stuff like that. But this is massive. As I said, there's a petition going on online that just started up, I think, about a day ago, and it already has like over 3,000 signatures on it. There's a poll on BioWare.com. It's like the three choices are, we want new endings, or I think the number one choice that's leading the vote is like, I hated all the endings. The second choice is like, I just wish they had an ending, or I hated all the endings because they didn't bring closure. And then the third choice was like, I liked all the endings. And like the third choice, like I like the endings, was like, I don't know, like 100 votes. The I hate all the endings was basically like, I don't know, I think like thousands of votes for that. Like it's like 88%. Like there really are a rare group of people out there who like the endings. Like at first when I beat the game, I was like, okay, I don't really have a problem with the endings. But then I went through, watched all the endings in detail. I read, pretty much all I could read up about on the endings and indoctrination and everything that happened. And I really think, BioWare has some good writers. Say what you want about them, but they're good writers. And I just think there's too many mistakes here. It's almost like they did this on purpose. Like something is just wrong on, purpose. They left these major plot holes on purpose. Like maybe they made you, like maybe Shepard is knocked out. He's hallucinating or something. He's dreaming and he wants to believe in Normandy got away and crash landed on this planet. Because your love interest steps out of Normandy and is smiling. Like, okay, yeah, Shepard's dead. I don't care. Like maybe that's what Shepard wants, like, the Normandy to be okay. He's knocked out. Maybe he thinks all this is happening, but really he's just knocked out. I think that'd be brilliant part on them, and I would buy it in a heartbeat. I mean, I don't know. The endings are bringing, it's right now it is a shitstorm. I think they probably have alienated a lot of fans, regardless of if it's their master plan to release an expansion pack or an endings DLC somewhere down the road. Or maybe this is just the real endings that they're going to give us and there's no hope for it to change. Regardless, this is a massive shitstorm. People are talking. People are making some great arguments, some great theories. And I'm going to leave the link, I'll leave a link to it, but really just go to BioWare.com into the Mass Effect 3 forums. They have a bunch of subforums, but if you go to the one that talks about spoilers and the stories and stuff, almost every thread is a great read by fans. Like I said, maybe some of us are grasping for straws. Regardless, great theories that may help you like the endings better, or because you can, maybe say, okay, at the end, this is what I think happens, and maybe it'll bring you some peace if you really hate the ending. So just go on there, read up about it, but definitely go to the one about the ending being a hallucination. It's just started up about 2 to 3 days ago. Already has like over 200 pages of people talking about it. But yeah, and the online petition thing, if you want to sign it, cool. I don't think that'll get anywhere. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of stuff, but I don't think you should demand a new ending just because you don't like something. If you have a valid argument and valid theories, then fine. But a lot of gamers are pretty much just saying, well, fuck you, BioWare, but I don't think you should go that far. But definitely the Mass Effect journey from 1 to 3 was awesome. I don't think the last 15 minutes of Mass Effect 3 really alienate that for me. It is kind of depressing, but I'm going through Mass Effect 1 as we speak again and loving every second of it. Part of me in the back of my mind is like, yeah, I'm doing this all for naught, because really all your choices really don't come full circle at the end of Mass Effect 3. But like I said, maybe this just leaves, maybe this is BioWare's master plan. Let's hope. If you've beaten the game and listened to this, I suggest maybe going through and on YouTube and looking up all the endings and just seeing what you think. There's also some very, very little minute details when you meet the Catalyst. If your EMS is high enough, instead of him saying, "What are you doing here?" he says, "Wake up." just little things like that. Like, again, maybe we're just really looking into it way too much, but I would definitely, go to the forums, read some stuff, look up some videos. There's some interesting stuff out there, guys. But like I said, the journey from 1 to 3 was an amazing journey. My favorite game series of all time, easily. And just leave your comments below. Tell me what you thought of the ending. Preferably not just the ending was shit. I think we all kind of agree. Maybe just post like your theory or, some academic argument against the ending. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Thumbs up. I don't know if I'll have another discussion. I might, but this was really the big one I wanted to get out about the endings. So, but thanks for listening, guys.